The boy's voice was trembling as he clutched the rusted handlebars of his tiny bicycle. "Please, sir, buy my bike. Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days." The busy gas station went silent. The roar of engines faded as 6 bikers, known across the town for their rough looks and louder bikes, turned their heads toward the trembling boy. What they didn't know was that this moment would change not only the boy's life, but theirs forever. Because behind that child's desperation lay a story of betrayal, loss, and a mother who had once helped the very people who destroyed her. It was late afternoon when Ethan, a 7-year-old boy in a torn blue shirt, stood beside the road holding a small cardboard sign. "Bike for sale, $30. His hands were trembling. His face was pale. Dust covered his shoes, and his lips looked dry. Every few minutes, cars passed, but no one stopped. Behind him, on a small hill, sat a half-collapsed house, walls cracked, windows shattered. That was his home. Inside, his mother, Claire, lay on an old couch, too weak to stand. She hadn't eaten in 2 days, giving her last crumbs of bread to her son. Once, Claire had owned a small bakery, warm bread, laughter, customers who called her Sunshine Claire. But that was before her business partner betrayed her. Before the fire. Before she lost everything. Now, all she had was Ethan and the broken memories of what life used to be. Ethan had found his old bike in the shed that morning, covered in rust. It was the only thing left unburned by the fire that had taken their bakery. He cleaned it for hours, polishing it with a piece of cloth, whispering to himself, "If I can sell this, Mommy can eat again." When the roar of engines filled the air, Ethan's eyes lit up. 6 large motorcycles rolled into the gas station across the street. Their jackets bore a patch, Iron Vultures MC. The leader, a tall man with dark sunglasses named Ryder, noticed the boy standing near the curb, holding the sign. "Hey kid," he called out, "what are you selling that junk for?" Ethan gulped and stepped closer. "Please, sir, buy my bike. Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days." The laughter stopped. The other bikers looked at each other. Ryder crouched down to the boy's level. "What did you say?" Ethan's eyes filled with tears as he held out the handlebars. "My mom's sick. I just want her to have some food. Please." The bikers exchanged awkward glances. Men with tattoos and steel hearts suddenly didn't know where to look. Ryder reached into his pocket and pulled out a $100 bill. "Keep your bike, kid. Here." But Ethan shook his head. "No, sir. You have to take it. I can't take money for nothing. Mommy said we have to earn what we get." That single sentence hit Ryder like a punch to the chest. The same biker who once grew up stealing food now found himself speechless in front of a starving boy with more pride than most grown men. He took the bike gently. "All right, deal." Then he asked, "Where's your mom, son?" Ethan pointed toward the broken house on the hill. Within minutes, the roar of 6 bikes filled the road again, but this time, they weren't riding away. They were heading toward the boy's home. When Claire heard the sound, she panicked. Her frail body shook as she tried to stand, thinking the bikers had come to cause trouble. But when Ryder stepped off his bike holding a grocery bag instead of a weapon, she froze. "Ma'am," he said softly, "your boy made a deal with us. We bought his bike, but we thought you might need this more." He handed her a bag filled with food, bread, milk, fruit, and soup. Tears streamed down Claire's face as she whispered, "You don't even know us." Ryder looked down. "Maybe not. But someone once helped me when I had nothing. Maybe it's time I return the favor." That night, the bikers stayed outside the little house, fixing broken windows and clearing debris. For the first time in months, Ethan and Claire ate dinner under the stars. But as Ryder walked around the ruins of the old bakery, he noticed something on a burned sign. Claire's Corner Bakery, owned by Claire and Mason. Ryder's eyes narrowed. He knew that name. Mason Turner. A local businessman, and the same man who had once cheated the Iron Vultures out of thousands. Ryder clenched his fists. This wasn't over. The next morning, Ryder gathered his crew. He told them everything, the bakery fire, the betrayal, and the men named Mason Turner. As the others listened, their expressions hardened. They weren't just bikers, they were men who'd been wronged, broken, and rebuilt. Let's find out what this Mason did, Ryder growled. Within hours, the iron vultures tracked Mason's luxurious mansion downtown. Security cameras. Expensive cars. The man was living like a king while Claire and her son were starving. Ryder and 2 of his men walked up to the iron gates. Mason came out wearing a suit, pretending to be shocked. "Can I help you?" Ryder smirked. "Yeah. You can start by explaining how you stole a woman's life." Mason's fake smile faltered. "I don't know what you're talking about." But Ryder stepped closer, pulling out his phone. He showed him old news photos, Mason's bakery expansion plans filed just weeks after Claire's burned down. "You insured the building. You got the payout. And you left her with nothing." Mason's face turned red. "You can't prove that." Ryder leaned in. "Maybe not legally. But morally. You're already guilty." The iron vultures didn't hurt him, they weren't criminals anymore. Instead, they did something smarter. They leaked the truth. They sent Mason's files, emails, and insurance documents to local reporters. By evening, the news broke. Businessman Mason Turner under investigation for arson and fraud. Within days, his empire collapsed. Meanwhile, a van pulled up outside Claire's house. Ryder stepped out, holding a small box. Inside was a set of shiny new keys. "Claire," he said, smiling, "it's time to reopen your bakery. Mason won't be needing this building anymore." Claire's hands shook as she held the keys. "I don't know how to thank you." Ryder smiled softly. "Don't thank me. Thank your son. He reminded us what honor looks like." Ethan ran to Ryder, hugging him tightly. "You're my hero, sir." Ryder knelt and whispered, "No, kid. You're ours." Months later, Claire's Corner Bakery reopened, this time bigger and brighter. Every Saturday, 6 motorcycles parked outside, filling the air with laughter and the smell of coffee and fresh bread. A framed picture hung near the counter. Ethan with his rusty bike. And beneath it, a quote. "Kindness doesn't need a badge. Just a beating heart." As the camera fades out, Ryder's voice echoes. Sometimes, the smallest voices remind us of the biggest truths, that even in a cruel world, compassion can still roar louder than hate. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Because every share spreads one more spark of kindness in the world.